Okay, so hello everyone. My name's Kathy and Katie's here too. And we are going to share with you some of our favorite restorative poses. It's one of the things that we're gonna try and have additional YouTube videos coming out with us kind of co-teaching, co-collaborating separately, obviously on Zoom. So the first one we're doing is restorative. Who can use a little restorative practice? So we're going to hold the poses only for about 2 minutes, just for timing, but you can always pause the video. We would recommend holding the poses for 3 to 5 minutes if you can. And for restorative, just a little bit of background is you really want to put yourself in a position that's as supportive as possible. And so we'll share some ideas around props to get you supported. But if you're in a pose and you're finding, hey, my shoulder is not feeling supported or something's not supported, feel free to be creative and, grab something, whether it's a pillow, blanket, a rolled up towel. You probably have a lot of things around your house besides just good old yoga stuff that can help. So what we're each going to do is teach a pose, and the other person will be getting set up in the pose so you can kind of see how that works. And I'm going to turn it over to Katie to start us off.
Great. Thanks, Kathy. I'm happy to be partnering with you on this. I can use a bit of restorative yoga right now after some shoveling in the snow. And sledding, also the fun part too.
Right.
And so the first pose that I'd like to walk you through is supported bridge.
Okie doke.
There's, like Kathy said, a number of different props you can use. And I'll show a couple different ones as well after getting Kathy into the pose. But Kathy, do you want to begin using a block? Do you have a block?
I have block.
Perfect. So, so if you have a block, we're going to set that kind of near you, and we're going to lie on our back and have your knees bent. And we can begin just with our arms comfortably to our side right now. And we're going to place the block underneath our hips. And for the block, you can choose if you want the much shorter side lying flat, or if you want to come up a little bit, or you can go and turn the block and lift yourself up even higher. And especially in this highest one, if you choose, it'll be important to make sure you feel balanced. You won't be able to relax in mountains if you're worried about falling or having the block tip. You want to support your hips up, opening the hip flexors here, deciding on a comfortable spot. And then, Kathy, as you do that, if you want, you can take your arms out wide or just leave them to your side, or place them in the belly, anything that would feel good. Opening up the side if you feel like you want to open up your chest or heart more. If you don't have a block, and I'll start 2 minutes for Kathy, but if you don't have a block, you could take a bolster or a cushion. You could also roll up a blanket or a towel. And what we just want to do is find anything that'll help lift our hips up and support it. And then be able to open up hips a little bit, relax the back. And it should feel good on the back. If it doesn't, we'll want to adjust a little bit more to make sure that it does feel good. So another option, let Kathy relax in that pose, is you could use a foam roller if you had one, or even a rolled up mat would work. But put the foam roller along the spine as well for a supported bridge. And you'll see that we can do this in a number of other restorative poses as well. If it's hard to keep your knees together, if you feel like you're using and some muscle work to keep your knees up, you could use the strap to place it. And then around your knees, you want to be able to have them about hip width apart. And then to do this. And so to come out of this pose, with any of the restorative poses, so Kathy, just want to wiggle, maybe fingers, toes, maybe just a couple small movements. And then releasing the support under your hips and allowing yourself to gradually make your way onto your side. Maybe drawing knees into chest if that feels good. And it's nice to just stay on your side for a moment. And then slowly make your way back up. We don't want to shock our body by coming out of a restorative pose too quickly. We want to be able to carry the benefits with us. And so I'm going to take us next. Happy, hope you already feel a little relaxed. I'll take us next into supported butterfly, which is a really nice pose. It can be very nice for opening up the hips. And so to begin with, we will take the bottom, we'll sit up and take the bottoms of our feet together and just notice how it feels right now. And if your hips feel tight at all or open, we can adjust how close our feet are to our body if we'd like. And also, we're going to be lying back soon, but if you feel like your knees are kind of weighing and opening up your hips too much, you could put a support underneath your knees. So if you have a bolster, a cushion, a foam roller, a block, a rolled up blanket, or even an extra rolled up yoga mat, which can be a great prop, you could support your knees if you'd like. From there, we can start to roll back. If that feels good to lie all the way back, or we could create a supported cushion to lean against. So Kathy, would you like to feel a little more upright and supported or more lying down?
I'll do the uprighted one, Katie.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So create kind of a little, I don't know, hill to lean against. So you can roll up your blanket. You could grab a foam roller. Do you have a bolster? Perfect. So you can put the bolster behind you, maybe along your spine or along your shoulder blades, depending on how you want to do it. So along your spine, that's perfect. And then I'll demonstrate the other way as well. So put that by your hip, by the back of your hip, and then start to lie back. Yep, you did it. Lie back. Just notice if this feels okay. Maybe open up your arms.
Awesome. So like it's really a deep chest opener. So which feels really good to me. Like you said, if your people are on a bolster and it doesn't feel good, you could take your arms on blocks too. But I know you're going to show another version. This feels really, really good.
Perfect. So you stay there then for 2 minutes, and I'll do just a couple other things. So if you do notice that you have any pain in the knees or groin, it's okay to kind of sit back up and readjust. Maybe you do want more support underneath your thighs or knees. That's something that's optional too. So Kathy has the bolster on the spine. We'll leave her there like that. But another thing that we could do is to take either our rolled up blanket or a block if it's soft enough. But we can make our blanket nice and kind of thick rolled up so it's folded rolled several times. We're gonna then put it underneath and behind our heart a little bit and just lifting our chest up just a little bit here and allow your head to kind of comfortably rest back behind it. And if you feel like you need to add any cushions anywhere, we want to make sure we can really fully melt and relax into our restorative pose. So we'll just be here for just another minute or so. If it's not comfortable to have your arms out wide, opening your chest, you could place them on your belly if that feels good. And if we are not comfortable lying down or can't lie on our back, maybe if you're expecting or for any other reason, if it's uncomfortable, we could lean against something, creating some cushion maybe behind you, and you can do more of an upright, but still reclining butterfly. You want to make sure you're leaning back to be able to fully relax here. Great. So, and if your lower back is arching, then having that bolster along the spine against your hips can really help. So we can have these start to bring our awareness back. The small little movements. And then whenever you can comfortably roll onto one side, and if that's just rolling, off your support or removing the support first, just rolling again onto one side for a moment. Taking a few breaths there, notice how you feel. And then when you're ready, you can just use one arm to gently push yourself back up, and then,
Thank you. Feels so good. So I'm going to share a couple poses and Katie will get to hopefully relax a little. So we're going to start with a supported twist. So for this one, if you've got a bolster or a pillow, like a couch pillow, and if you don't have any kind of bolsters, you can also use a blanket. And I think Katie showed you, you'll fold your blanket, and to make it into more like a bolster, we're gonna fold it several times so it's like this shape, and then you can use this. You can also use it on top of your bolster. I'd also like, if you have another blanket, or another thing that works well if you don't have blankets, are big beach towels, because they're really usually thick and kind of sturdy. So like sometimes blankets are kind of just soft and squishy. So if you've got beach towels, those can also work, like when we say to use a blanket. Or if you have a blanket that's not, this is just a real soft blanket, that's nice to have to cover yourself up too. So for supported twist, again, if you have a bolster or whatever you're using as your bolster, you're gonna actually sit with your, let's sit with your right hip next to the bolster. And so you're facing, like your right arm would go long. Yeah, perfect. And we're gonna go ahead, if you have another blanket or something, you might want, but you're good because you're on your mat. But what's nice about this is my outside knee is just resting on this very soft blanket, because I'm gonna actually let my hips kind of twist here, so my knees are not stacked. See, one is here and one is here. Yeah, so you're kind of like sitting on your right hip, and then like roll more to your right hip. And then from here, you're gonna take one hand on each side of the bolster. Perfect. Yes, perfect. And just kind of let your hips twist. Then inhale, you're going to lengthen the spine. Exhale, we're going to stay here. Maybe twist a little deeper on that bottom of the exhale. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, maybe find a little more twist. Take one more inhale, lengthen the spine, and then exhale, begin to recline forward onto the bolster. Beautiful. And as you come down, you can turn your head to either side, whichever side feels best to you. And Katie is just completely released into the bolster. If you find that you're not that bolster isn't high enough, you can stack more things up, more beach towels, more blankets. I know she demonstrated too, even with a foam roller, if you wrap it up, wrap something around and make it soft. And then she's just gonna release and let go. So with restorative, the idea is to just do less. Let the props support your release. Continue to just let the body relax. Move into your breath. So then to gently come out of the pose, sliding your hands alongside your shoulders. Yeah, and then using your hands, gently push yourself up, let your head just kind of dangle and be the last thing up. And then from there, just turn so that your back is against the bolster and just pause in this position and letting your body settle with the effects of the pose before we move to the other side. So now you can just start to move to the other side. So now your left hip will be against the bolster. She's going to be facing back. And again, maybe there's a blanket towards the outside knee, just as you let your hips kind of twist with you. So your hips do part of the twist. And then one hand on each side of the bolster as you're ready. And then inhaling, lengthening. Exhale all the air out. Find a little bit of the twist. Inhale and lengthen. Release all the air. Find a little twist from there. One more inhale and lengthen. And then release all the way down onto the bolster into your twist. Letting your head turn to the other side. So whichever side you turned to before, take it to the other side here. Yeah, definitely making any adjustments so that your body feels really supported. You feel like every part of your body can let go and release. Again, to begin to come out of the pose, you'll slide her hands alongside her shoulders, and then she'll use her hands to push herself up, letting the head kind of dangle. And then once again, as you're ready, turning, we'll just turn again with our back to the bolster, just letting our body settle. And then the next pose we'll do is supported child, and we're going to use the bolster again. So you'll turn to face the bolster, and this time you'll probably need to lift the bolster up a little bit. So one option is to take a blanket or the folded beach towel to make the bolster a little taller. In addition, or instead of, you can even take a block and slide it about a third of the way from the top of the bolster, so it's really lifted up. Yeah, nice. And then walk your knees so they're wide across the bolster if you can. So you spread yeah, nice. And then Katie will just find what position works for her. So you guys probably know child's pose. She'll just start to move forward. Yeah, perfect. And just notice how her whole upper back and whole back curves and rounds, and that's kind of the support we're looking for. So if you need more support, you just keep adding things to that bolster. And I'll have Katie, she has her head turned to one direction right now, and then halfway through I'll say to turn the head to the other side. She's able to just let her hips release deeply in this pose while her chest is supported. So child's pose is we think of it as somewhat of a supported pose anyway. But hopefully with the bolster or blankets or something under your chest, you're actually feeling even a little more ability to release and let go. You might find that in the hips. You might find it in the back or the shoulders. And so remaining in the pose, just lifting your head gently and turning to the other side. And resettling, resetting. To come out of the pose again, just sliding your hands till they're underneath your shoulders, using your hands to gently push yourself up, letting your back continue to round, your head coming up last. Pausing there. Great.
Great. Okay. So next, we're going to do legs up the wall. And so we're going to find a nice clear wall that we can go up to by it. And we're going to grab either a cushion or a soft block, or if you don't have a soft block, maybe wrapping it with a blanket or a towel. We're also going to want our strap if we have one. If we have one that has a buckle on it, that can be really nice as well. So happy grab that, and then we want to sit kind of side saddle. So once we have our stuff up to the wall, and actually if you have another extra cushion or a little blanket or towel, if you want to set it maybe just a few feet away from the wall to put your head on, that can be really nice too. But otherwise we're going to have our cushion or block about a foot away from the wall. And before we bring our legs up, we can take the strap, we're going to put it around kind of like on your shins or around your calves. You could do it higher or lower if you want. Don't put it by your knees, that's to be uncomfortable, but just kind of tightening the belt so that this will allow when we bring our legs up to not even have to worry about holding them close together, worry about them falling apart, just letting your legs kind of be. So then sitting side saddle, if you're not there already, next to the block, and we're going to just swing our hips up and use the block underneath to support our back, similar to how we did in supported bridge pose. And this isn't a graceful science, right? So don't worry, you can use the strap even to help swing your legs up, but you're gonna end up wanting to adjust once you're there. So if you feel like you're not in the right position, you can feel free to adjust. We want the blanket to be kind of under our head, And then the cushion or rolled up blanket or block, lifting our hips up just a little bit. And so that it's kind of under your sacrum, under your lower back a little bit, lifting that up. So make sure you feel comfortable. You should be able to hopefully let go of all effort here to hold your legs up or hold them together or be there. And this can be a really nice pose because it can even help boost your energy. It helps recirculate your blood a little bit, you know, as you have your legs lifted up. Very refreshing for the limb. Your hamstrings should feel comfortable. They shouldn't feel overstretched. I didn't mention it earlier, but if you have an eye pillow and wanted to put that over your eyes, you could do that as well. In any of the poses here that where it wouldn't slip off, you can do that. It's nice to be able to have a little pressure on your eyes and on your forehead. Helps relax the mind. Then slowly start to bend your knees a little bit to bring them in towards your body. And then take your time, but we'll end up rolling onto one side, depending on what you have under your hips. If you feel like you need to move that first, or just roll over, pausing there, and then whenever you're ready to use your hands, gently lift yourself back up. Now we've been doing, allowing the head to be the last thing to lift.
Thank you, Katie. I love legs up the wall. That's definitely one where if you guys can pause the video, stay there as long as you can. So our last one is our favorite or often used is Shavasana. So I will guide Katie into a little Shavasana. As she mentioned, if you've got an eye pillow or anything to cover your eyes, that would be really great for this pose. If you're going to, you know, if you're in, like, if your mat is cold at all, if you're in a cold area, like Katie's garage, you might want a blanket to cover yourself. And yeah, any other clothing, like she just put her little slippers on and your sweater. And so what you'll do is just come to your mat with your knees bent and begin to just start to lower yourself to the floor. I'm going to talk you through a few things. Sometimes people like to have a bolster or something underneath their knees. You can always do that. And also, like you said before, if you want to put something very small under your head, especially if you're going to be here for a while, then the back of your head will be it'll be more comfortable for you. But and then from now that she's in that pose, she's just going to let her legs come to whatever position feels good. So people usually have their legs a little more than hip distance apart. Usually your feet are going to naturally drop open. Some people are more comfortable with their feet dropping in. She's getting herself all set up with her blanket. And then I'm going to just have you do one last adjustment, Katie, is with, you might need to hold on to your eye pillow, but just lift your head up and tuck your chin a little bit and tuck your, yeah. And then as you lower back down to the floor, just to have that little sense of lengthening through your neck. Yeah. And then her arms are out to the side. Now she's got her arms on the floor, which is great. If for any reason your shoulders, this is too much for your shoulder, you can always prop your hands up on a block. And we will just let her release and relax in this final resting pose. And even though ideally, you know, you will stay still for the full amount of time you choose to stay here, if at any time you notice a sensation that's kind of distracting to you, feel free to take care of that and, you know, make an adjustment or add another prop. But otherwise, if you can find stillness, just let your body release into this pose. This is a pose that allows you to say, I am enough. It allows you to be done with any effort, any holding on, and let go. So I'll begin to guide you out of Shavasana. But again, if you can stay longer, this is our last pose, so stay as long as you can. If you're ready to come out, begin to just invite some movement into your body, maybe just starting with your fingers and toes. It's gently reawakening to your body. And then as you're ready, drawing your knees into your chest one at a time, and maybe just pausing here in this pose, Apanasana. And then rolling over onto your right side and all the way onto your right arm, like it's a pillow, and just resting here. It's our pose of rebirth. And then using both hands, gently press yourself up. And come back to that comfortable seated position in your own time. So thanks for sharing this, Katie. And together, maybe we'll just open our palms and draw them to our heart center as we just pause and say namaste.
Namaste.